All right, we should be live now. Welcome, guys, to our weekly Empowered Women's Coaching Call. Today is another beautiful day to be alive, and I am extra excited because I get to bring you back two of my personal coaches who have absolutely contributed to me transforming my life, staying on track towards my goals. They've helped me grow my business. They're helping me with my wealth creation. And as always, I want to bring to you the people that are coaching and mentoring and helping me in my life. And really the wisdom is coming from them. So we've got a really cool topic today. We're going to be talking a little bit about staying inspired in pursuit of your dreams and the power of momentum. Now, where your energy goes, momentum flows. So it's really important to take a daily account of where your energy is, where your mindset is going, where your thoughts, where your actions are, taking you towards. So we're going to speak a little bit about that. Before we get started, in the description, you can find a link to the YouTube channel where you can subscribe. There's a link to the Empowered Women's group that you can join, where we do different exercises and where we share all these links and where we discuss the things that are coming up for us for week to week. And the other thing I would love you to do is that if you love these calls, please share them. Please post, tag on Instagram and Facebook, because it really helps us get our message out there. And if it's empowering and helping you, let's help as many women as possible. So I'm going to get out of the way. And I'm not sure if you guys want to start by touching on the exercise, the 30-day exercise that so many of these women tuning in went through. It was amazing to see so many of them stick out the 30 days.
Yeah. So actually, that's a perfect place for us to start, Kira. So Hi, good morning.
Good morning, everybody. It's great to be here. Kira, again, we deeply appreciate these opportunities to reach people. It's very, very important for us and our mission. And we deeply appreciate your contribution to helping us fulfill our dreams. And so, we really wanted to get straight into the exercise. And I love the topics that we've picked today, because it just flows into demystifying what it is to actually get momentum and to throw some truth. You know us, Kira, we're gonna call it as it is. We're gonna tell it as it is. No fluff, no airy fairy stuff. We really want to make sure that we knock it out of the park with you guys. So do you want to kick off?
Yeah, I just want to say, first off, I was on Facebook quite a lot, and even if I wasn't commenting, I was definitely watching from the sidelines. And I have to say, even if you just did 1 day's worth of those exercises, I have to take my hat off to you. Good job, because it's so important. When we're challenged like this, it's really important that we actually step up to the plate in some way, shape or form. So even if you did it for 1 day, we just take our hats off to you. Now, I know some people did it for way longer, and for you guys, those of you that stuck it out to the end, really, really, really good job. We also saw that some of you weren't doing it on the actual, on Facebook. You would have been doing it in your own journals, but we're keeping along with what we were talking about. So I just firstly want to say good job for everyone that did it.
And it was lots of people got involved, and that's magic.
I saw at the end of it that some people had taken all of their I am statements and put them into one document, which I really, really loved. I thought that was quite cool.
Into a bit of a collage.
Into a bit of a collage. That's magic. Yeah. So now
it's great to print those off and have them in your shower. Laminated. That's what I have.
Absolutely. Print them off, have them there, revisit them. Such a really cool tool to have, just to have them at your fingertips. I want to talk a little bit about the challenges that we would have faced along the way, because when we're given an exercise like this, especially one of this nature, where we're asked to really bare ourselves, really look deep within ourselves, it's going to bring up stuff. And I noticed that there were certain days and certain topics and certain areas that really brought up people's stuff. So one of them was definitely physical. Financial brings up a lot of stuff. Sexual brought up a heap of stuff, and that's something that we deal with often. And those challenges that we face are so important that we, for those of you who really pushed through and really stuck it out and really dug deep to look at those areas, I think that's super, super important.
I think that it's important to understand that, you know, when we do this exercise with people, we're looking for the stuff that it brings up, because people are very easily able to write down, oh, these are all the things that I love about myself. And they think that that's what we're looking for them to do. But in actual fact, that's not what we're looking for you to do. What we're looking for is, we're looking for the areas where you're adamant your love doesn't exist, or where you're adamant, we're looking for the things that you perceive are actually holding you back. Because and for people, that's anything, you know, I was abandoned, I was rejected, I was abused, I was neglected, whatever that is. And because the key to your success lies in your ability to be able to see that the things that you perceive are holding you back were actually the things that were designed to enable you. Now, what happens, you know, we're in a society now where mediocrity is normal, which is kind of scary. Mediocrity is normal. You know, it's normal for people to live a mediocre life. It's normal for people to give up on life, and it becomes normal. And then when you're doing that, you want to pretend that you're not doing that. So you try to be like someone else. You try to, you know, you look up to someone and you try to be like them. And the problem with that is that you're avoiding yourself, and you're not realizing that. And when you avoid yourself, you know, you're avoiding parts of yourself that you need to be esteeming. And when you avoid parts of yourself and you start to try to be like someone else, and you're pretending in the world, what you do is you create two of them and none of you. So you get lost. And then, so there's a lot of lost people in the world, not realizing that the key to your success lies in your ability to find love for yourself in the places where you're adamant it didn't exist. I'll say that again. The key to your success lies in your ability to find love in the places where you're adamant it didn't exist. So your self-worth lies in your ability to look at the situations and circumstances that have shaped you and be able to ask yourselves the bigger questions, which, I mean, you know this, Kira, you've done this, you're one of my personal clients. You've done this with me numerous times now, where we look at the challenges and say, okay, how does this enable me? What does it teach me? What does it show me? And we drill down hard on that stuff until eventually a tear arrives in your eye and you realize, shit, that thing that happened to me was the greatest thing that ever happened to me in my life. And we're like, yes. And then the two of us started, you know, laughing and crying like a couple of little kids. And then we sit there and realize, man, I could have gone to my deathbed not realizing that everything I needed was right there in the place where I thought it wasn't. So the other thing there is that we also, when these things occur for us when we're young, and we're going, because you're shaped, we now know from the third trimester, the neural system inside of a child is switched on. The child is receiving information right up until the child is 7, into their 8th year, arguably. We know in that time period, that is when they construct 85% of the neural pathways in their brain. So their future is constructed, their future emotions are constructed in that time period. Hardwired, meaning hardwired and fired together. And so their future just becomes their past folded on top of itself. So, but we know then, if we deal with what happened and who we are, if we stop and have a look and we drill down on that stuff, this is where we find our self-worth. But something else also occurs, that when we drill down and we look at that stuff and we realize that these things that happen to us for a reason, to enable us and empower us. When we suddenly see that, well, something else occurs, and what occurs then is our vision for our life occurs. We start to get what it is we're actually here to do. We realize, I mean, I said this only to you yesterday, you're empowered women. And I said, you have to understand, the universe is listening to you. It listens very carefully to what you're saying. And it says to you, okay, if you're going to take on that job, baby, let me tell you, I'm going to hold you accountable. I'm
going to put you to the test over and over again so that you can.
Because, and the tests are magic, right? Because the tests are there to remind us that life cares about us. It cares about what you're saying to yourself. It cares. It has.
Life is perfect.
Yeah.
If there was no pressure, if life was perfect, we would never be pushed to pursue our potential. And joy comes from pursuing your potential. So the pain is necessary.
Absolutely. So what Mitch is saying is that the stuff that was brought up in the challenge, the exercise that we did, the challenges that you faced, those are the keys to you stepping forward. They're the keys to you pursuing your dreams, not the other way around.
Yes.
The stuff that was easy, the stuff that I can just, so people think we do this exercise to write that I am clever, I am intelligent. That is absolutely not why we do this exercise. This exercise is done because the places where you find it the most difficult, that's where you find your gold.
The thing that you think is in the way is not on the way, it is the way. Get what I said? The thing that you think is in the way is not on the way, it is the bloody way. So the thing that you think is holding you back, that's what we're looking for. That's where you find your self-worth. Now, the fundamental reason why people fail in life, listen to what I'm about to tell you. The fundamental reason, this life is designed in order for you to fulfill your dreams. Everything that happens around you is designed to make you fulfill the immortal nature of what lies in your heart, which is your dreams. But you have to understand these things that occur within your life are there to empower you and enable you. And you have to stop and look. I mean, one of the things that I've done this with you, Kira, we do this with you, we do this in Mastermind of Money, is we show you how to actually deal with the things and mind those things and find your self-worth in there. The biggest reason why people fail in life is because of lack of self-esteem and self-worth.
So the self-worth that you have is actually lying in the places, the biggest key to your self-worth is lying in the places where you couldn't find an answer, where you couldn't say, I am smart, I'm intelligent, where you couldn't find the answer. That is where your gold lies. And I know that's going to challenge some people. And the reason it challenges some people is because they find it so difficult. But if they can get past that little bit, that's holding them back, and they can see that how do I explain it? The gold that's in those moments. If you can conceptualize in any way the gold that's in those moments, that's where the momentum comes from in your life. Because at the moment, what's happening is that we're thinking that it's I am smart, I am intelligent, I am clever, I am all of these things. But the things that you find are difficult. So I'll give you an example. When we were doing Sexual Day, a lot of people were really, really struggling with that concept because they had experiences and they'd experienced stuff in that area that was challenging for them. Now, because it's challenging for them, they find it difficult to look at that because their mindset tells them, I didn't handle this well. I'm traumatized. I'm stuck. I'm worried, and all of this other stuff gets in the way. This other stuff that gets in the way, the reason it gets in the way is because just underneath that, if they were to see what beauty and what gold lies in their self-worth, just underneath that, it would blow them away. The things that happen to us for a reason. And the reason these things happen to us is to help us to stand out. Yeah. It's to help us to find those elements of ourselves that we thought never existed. Like Mitch said earlier, the deepest of love is found in the places where adamant it never existed. Yeah. So if we can find it and we can mine it in those areas, in that moment, in those moments, that's where our worth lies.
You know, there's a really, really cool, one of the things we teach our clients and our students is the laws. We talk to them about laws, and laws are the rules of the game. You're in a game. You're in the world here. This is a game. You're in it, and it's governed by laws. Like we're governed by gravity, conservation, and transformation. These are all universal laws and principles. One of those universal laws and principles is known as the law of learning to handle what you got, and it goes like this: to those people that have certainty, presence, and love in their lives, more is given. To those people that don't, more is taken away. I'll just clarify it further for you. Until you learn to handle what you've got, you will never have any more within your life. So these things turn up in our lives, and when they turn up in our lives, they turn up in our lives to enable us and empower us to be actually able to get ahead. So the thing you think is holding you back is actually the thing that is there to get you ahead.
Absolutely.
So your objective, I mean, a lot of people are saying, okay, well, how do I deal with it in terms of this and how do I deal with it in terms of that? Well, it's a process. We got to show you how to do it. I have to spend a bit of time. Like, people come to Mastermind of Money, and when they come to Mastermind of Money, and I know loads of you guys are coming to Mastermind of Money, the money is the thing. The last thing we deal with is money, and it happens on the last day in the last 3 hours of the event. And the reason being is because money is the easiest thing in the world to deal with. And there's people out there who will tell you, money's really easy to make and da-da-da-da. Let me tell you something. Money is difficult to make, but it's easy to master. And once you have it mastered, you don't have any of the difficulty of making it. But so people say, why do you guys talk about money all the time? We don't talk about money all the time. We talk about self-worth. We talk about having a vision and a calling. We talk about enabling people how to deal with what has happened and find the gold in what has occurred, and then take that and run with it and realize that everything that happened to you in your life is attached to your calling. When people come into this event, they walk out with a calling. They walk out, they're going, holy shit, I actually know now why I'm here in this world. And I know what it is I need to do in order to be able to get ahead. It's mind-blowing, it's priceless. But you have other people in the world who are a bit delusional, and I'll talk a little bit about that.
Can I just backtrack just a tiny bit? Okay, because I just want to finish up with this challenge that we were talking about, because one of the things that we're focused on today in today's call is momentum and creating momentum, and this is going to lead into what you're going to talk about in a second. So if you get stuck, like when imagine we set up to do an exercise like this exercise, and we're faced with a challenge, our momentum is broken because of our perception of ourselves. Our momentum is broken based on our experiences. So there were some of you guys that participated in the challenge that maybe did 1 set, so maybe 10 days, or maybe you did 5 and then you found an area that was challenging for you and then you stopped. So we have momentum, we have this desire to complete a task, and we start taking steps along the way. But what happens is our momentum is stopped based on our experience of ourselves, our ability to look at ourselves and not being able to get past that hurdle. So if that's what's going on, it's important to understand what's happening there, because consciously we want to get past. Consciously, we want to step up. Consciously, we've made an agreement and we've made a commitment to ourselves to say, hey, this is the thing I'm going to do. But something stops us in our tracks. Our momentum is stopped in our tracks. And the thing that's stopping us is not our conscious mind, it's our subconscious mind.
So let me tell you a little bit about that, right? Just so you understand, we'll walk into an audience, right? We did it a couple of years ago. We walked into an audience of about 1,700 people. And we were in the audience and we're looking around. We said, right, what we're going to do is we're going to give away our mastermind money. We're going to give it to everybody in the audience, just because we love the organization. So we're going to give it to everybody in the audience. We gave away to everybody in the audience the opportunity to come to this event. We threw the link up on a screen, come to this event. 1,400 people registered to come to this event. 1,400. Do you know how many turned up? About 280 people turned up. Now, 1,400 people in that audience, in their conscious mind, wanted to come and turn their lives around. Consciously. They watched their leaders doing it. They were looking at their leaders doing it. If these leaders are doing it, that's what I need to do. 1,400 people, 280 people turned up. That means that a little over 1,100 people were delusional. So here's what I mean by this. People think that the conscious choices they make in their lives are the ones that are controlling their lives. But your conscious processor is tiny. It's tiny and it fleets, it oscillates and TikToks. You change your conscious mind every 8 seconds. Every 8 seconds, you jump to another thought and jump to another thought. The subconscious processor, I'll put it to you this way. It is your subconscious mind that is in the driver's seat. Your subconscious mind controls everything, everything. And your subconscious mind is built between the age, as I said, of 0 to 8 years old. Starts, we now know that it's in the 3rd trimester. 0 to 8 years old, your subconscious mind creates itself and builds all of these loops. So it doesn't matter what goes on at your conscious mind. Now, we know the subconscious mind is the stronger processor, because right now your heart is beating, but you're not consciously making your heart beat. You're subconsciously making your heart beat. So it's your subconscious mind that's doing it. You're filtering your blood through your liver and your kidneys. It's your subconscious mind that's doing that. It's not your conscious mind that's doing it. So your subconscious mind is about 4 million times stronger than your conscious mind. So it doesn't matter what you say in your conscious mind. It's what's going on at a subconscious level that is dictating and creating your reality. And it's also creating either giving the momentum or not giving the momentum in your life. So we have to get that it doesn't matter what we say in our conscious mind, guys. It's what's going on at a subconscious level that we have to look at.
That's what we're dealing with all of the time. So when we're doing this exercise, we're not dealing with the conscious, I am smart, I am clever, etc. We're dealing with, okay, what's going on in here that's holding me back? What's going on in here that's challenging me? What's going on in here that's making me feel a little bit stuck in this exercise?
So whatever that stuff brings up for you when you do that exercise, that's what you got to deal with, and that's where your gold lies. Now, we have people in the world who basically come through and they're like, okay, I want to be able to fulfill a dream. There's something I want to do in my life. So everybody is, has a vision. Everybody has a vision. Like you wake up this morning and you know that when you go to bed last night, you know you're going to wake up in the morning, you're going to have a shower, you're going to get your clothes on, you're going to go and have your breakfast. So you can already see that happen. Now, everybody who turns up here in the world has a vision of some sort, but there's a fundamental difference between a vision and a visionary. And I'm going to give you the difference between the two, because this is really, really important. People who have a vision for their lives can sit down and tell you, this is the vision I have for my life. Now, when you create a vision for your life, let's say your vision is to travel the world. Your vision is to become an extraordinary chef. Your vision is to touch the world in some way. Your vision is to become financially independent so you can educate your kids the way you want to. Finances is a big thing for people, because when you talk about finances, people prick their ears up. So you come along and you've got this vision for your life. When you create this vision for your life, you attach to that vision a public plus, meaning you will tell people publicly what it is you want to do. You have a public plus for this vision. Now, the minute you create a public plus for a vision, you simultaneously create a private minus for that vision. So what that means is that when you wake up in the morning, because you're not living your vision, because you're habitually addicted, your subconscious mind is running your habitual life. You get up in the morning, you keep doing the same thing over and over and over again. Because now there's an incongruency between who you're being and where you want to be, that's minus part of your subconscious mind turns up and starts to beat you up and ridicule you and slam you and put you down because you're not doing what it is you're meant to be doing. Get what I said? So people come along and they go like, I've really got money. I want to have money high in my value system. I want to be able to get ahead. But in actual fact, because they have money high in their value system, but everything else is in the way that the subconscious mind has created, i.e. got to get the kids to school, got to get the lunches made, got to get into work, got to speak to the boss, because you're caught in that habitual routine. You'll wake up every morning and you'll subconsciously ridicule yourself, beat yourself up and slam yourself and put yourself down because you're not living what's important to you. Now, this is the danger of getting people to have a vision and build a big vision in their lives without having a mechanism to get there. Get what I said? You must have a mechanism to get there. Because the difference between a vision and a visionary is that a visionary knows exactly when they get up in the morning that every step they're taking is directly linked to where it is they want to get to. And it's a bit like, I don't know whether I did this last time with you, but it's a bit like putting an address into your GPS to go somewhere. When you pop the address into the GPS and you hit go, you get a bit, oh my God, am I going to get there? So sometimes people, they want to know, is this the fastest route? Am I going to get there quickly? Is this going to give me the momentum that I want? So what happens is they go over and they zoom out. So they zoom out so that they can see the place that they're leaving and the destination, the little checkered flag. And what does that do? It allows them to feel calmer. It allows them to feel, like there's no conflict. The only reason people have conflict in their lives is because they have a vision for where they want to get to, but they've no idea of how they're going to get there. When a visionary wakes up in the morning, it's like you go down to cook a cake, to make a cake. You're an extraordinary cook, a brilliant chef. You go down to do that. You know exactly what to do. It's second nature to you. You just know exactly what to do. You're a visionary. Different ball game, as opposed to going, I want to bake the cake, but I want to bake it my way. So I'm going to put some eggs in, some butter in, I'll put some flour in, blah, 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 blah. I'll use some dairy, I won't use some dairy, whatever that is. And you end up making something that's not really what it was set out to be.
That's kind of like how I bake cakes.
Yeah. That's actually I hate baking, Mitch. So you always use baking as an analogy, and I do exactly that. I think I can make it up as I go, and then it fails.
It just tells you how bad I am in the kitchen myself. But the point about it is you know what to do. You're a master in the kitchen. You know what to do. Am I right? 100%, 100%. So it's exactly the same thing the other way around. If you have a vision for your life without a method to get there, you'll never get there. If you want to get wealthy and you've no method for getting there, like I'll walk into a room of 100 people and I'll say, okay, how many of you guys want to have money on your base and you want to be able to build a financial, because people don't want money. They want freedom of lifestyle. They want to be able to educate their kids properly. And money is just a byproduct of getting there. But you'll say to people, many of you guys want to have money. They all put their hands up and you go, okay, many of you guys have studied and researched and spent at least the last 5 years making sure that you've created the correct methodology to be able to actually build your finances. You know how many people will put their hands down? At least 95% of the people, or 95 people in the audience will put their hands down. Then you go over to the last 5 people and you say, right, tell me, what structures have you got in place? Tell me about your plan. Tell me how what you wake up every day, every Friday when you go into your money. Tell me what you do with your money and the order in which you pay it. And they'll go, well, and show me where you have that wrote down and where you have that as a structure. And they'll go, oh, it's all up here, buddy. It's all up here. But the problem with it being up here is that up here is a moving goalpost. It moves all the time. So there's nothing up here. It doesn't mean anything unless it's actually got a plan and a structure. So 100% of the, well, 99% of the people are completely delusional. And a delusion is an affirmation without any commitment to it. Get what I said? A delusion is an affirmation without any commitment. So the great Jim Rohn said this: if you do not have a commitment to what it is you're doing, you're not a visionary. You have a vision, but you're not a visionary. You must chunk it back. You must have the systems in place to be able to get you to where you want to get to. Otherwise, you get lost.
So being delusional means I have an affirmation without commitment, saying that I'm somewhere, but not doing anything to get me there. I'm a millionaire, but I'm not going to do anything to get me. I'm a cook, but I've never baked. I've never cooked anything.
So I'm gonna kick the crap out of momentum now. You ready? So watch this. The only time a person needs momentum is when they haven't got a structure to get there. That's the only time they need momentum. Because when you know the structure to get there, every move you make is getting you there. You don't need momentum. When you get out of bed, every move you make is getting you there, because you know you have structured it back. You know, today I got to get up, I got to make this many calls. I'll get the kids off to school. Before I go to school, I go to gym. I'll get this many calls, Those many calls leads me to this person. I speak to this person. They get me into that bank. That bank now gets me here. That's what a visionary is. They see it. You have to understand, Richard Branson does not need to be motivated when he gets out of bed in the morning. Why? Because he's fundamentally inspired about what it is he's here to do.
And that's a big difference between being inspired and being motivated. Being motivated is something on the outside driving us to be a certain way and do a certain thing, like getting your kids up for school. Like, you have to motivate them. You've got to lure them with stuff, but you don't have to do that on Christmas morning. They're intrinsically inspired to be awake at 4 a.m. in order to get their presents.
Right.
You also don't need to inspire them, motivate them to go play their video games, because that innately inspires them. They get up and go do it. In the case of your kids, Kira, being around the pony, being around the horse, right? So whatever inspire you, it's really good to watch in kids because it's really easy to see. If we have to motivate ourselves, it means that it's not coming from within, it's coming from without. It's based on somebody else's perception of what we think we need to do. So inspiration comes from within. When we're inspired, we don't need to drag ourselves around every minute, where it comes from within. It comes from deep within us instead of coming from without of us.
I also want to say that, people who are inspired are energized. I said this in one of the last ones I think I did with you. I said, when you're clear with your calling, you're vitalized. So vitality flows to where there's clarity of vision and mission. So, and it's like every move I make, I'm inspired about what I'm doing. And if I'm not inspired, it tells me, okay, there's something I have to summon here to get me back on track and to deal with what's going on. And people need to know how to deal with that stuff. They need to know how to harness their self-worth and their self-esteem. They need to be able to tap into that, because inspiration is an infinite energy. It's pure zip. It's pure zero. It's absolute certainty. And in absolute certainty, every move you make, you are energized and vitalized to be able to achieve your dreams.
So in terms of pursuing your dreams, you can't be delusional. So again, delusional means not having a commitment. So if you don't have it chunked down, if you don't have it planned out, you are going to be delusional. So what happens is that the one thing that gets the most in people's ways of fulfilling their dreams is, because remember, our dreams are over here. Our dreams are are metaphysical. We can't see them at the moment, where they're outside of our scope in some form. So the thing that gets in our way of achieving this thing over here is what's going on over here. And what's going on over here is the physical. It's what's happening in our day-to-day world. So
right.
one of the things that's going to get in the way is how we think about ourselves. If we allow the challenges to stop our momentum instead of using them as a part of our momentum, which we spoke about earlier. So that's one of the things that's going to get in the way. The other thing that's going to get in the way is the day-to-day running of life. And the day-to-day running of life, for most people, one of the biggest things that gets in the way of you achieving your dreams is dealing with finances. Because our finances on a day-to-day life, if we've got a vision over here and we like a bill comes up over here, or an unexpected thing comes up over here, our vision and our heads are turned to face the immediate threat of not being able to pay a bill or not being able to afford something.
So if people get to 20, 30, 40, 45, and they've had, years of this stuff, they know that when they go to build their vision for their lives, or, summon their calling, this is why, one of the first things we do when people first meet us in a 2-day conference is, I have to get you clear on your calling. And you kind of have to trick a person into getting clear about what their calling is. But when you're clear with your calling, you won't let anything get in the way, especially yourself. But when you come from 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years of even 70 years of the same stuff, of being emotional around builds, when you go to build your vision, the first thing that will come up for people is money. But in actual fact, it's nothing to do with money. It's nothing to do with money. Money is a byproduct. Money is an inanimate object. It's like this bottle. This is nothing to do with this. It's to do with what it brings up for you. It's to do with your self-worth. So I say it to people all the time, your net worth is your self-worth, and your self-worth is your net worth. Show me your bank account, and I'll tell you exactly how much self-worth you have. And if you have low net worth, it means you have low self-worth. So watch this now. You build a person's self-worth, and simultaneously you build their net worth. But the masses are caught in the delusion of wanting to build their net worth. When I get the money, then I'm going to feel enough. That's cause and effect. The masters know they have to cause the effect, meaning they have to feel it, and the last thing to turn up is the money and the experience. So if you want to be wealthy, you have to build your self-worth inside of yourself. And when you build your self-worth inside of yourself, you watch your net worth increase. Holy moly. Yes, 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 yes. Now, no one will tell you that. The banks and fraternities will not tell you that. And here's why. Because the banks and fraternities earn their money on your insecurities. What? Yes, 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 yes. Here's how they do it. This is cool. You'll like this. The banks and fraternities turn around and they go, they know that the masses have insecurities that they don't want to feel. They have certain events that have happened in their lives, and the masses, the banks and fraternities don't want you to mind that stuff and realize that those things that occurred in your life were there to enable you. So what they do is they play to your insecurities, and they do things like, you know what, when you drink a can of Coke, then you're going to feel like you're on the beach, rolling the beach ball down the beach with all your buddies. When you drive the Audi, then you're going to feel like you're a doctor. When you smoke the cigarettes, then you're going to feel cool like the rest of the gang. So what they do is they mine to your insecurities with products that are non-appreciating, that put you into greater amounts of debt. And they're also short-term satisfaction stuff. They're quick fix, quick book. When you drink the Coke, you have that sugar hit. You're trying not to feel something. When you smoke the cigarette, you're numbing the frontal lobe of your brain, which is the master creator. The same energy that flows through the frontal lobe of your brain is creating supernovas in the atmosphere right now. So they numb those parts of your brain that stop you from feeling inspired and doing the things that you want to do. I take you to the Queen of England's fridge, and you open that fridge. You will not find chocolate in there. You will not find Coca-Cola in there. You will not find McDonald's in there. You won't find that stuff because the elite eat like masters. They eat properly and well. So the point here is that the masses are marketed to and their insecurities are marketed to. Because the true masters know that the answers lie in the heart of the masses, but there's false masters that control the masses and keep them stuck and stop them from having high self-worth and high self-esteem. So the key here is that you've got to build on your self-worth, and when you build on your self-worth, you build on your net worth, and you'll see that you're valued and you're worth it. Because when you go and open your bank accounts and you're looking at your savings, you see this, Kira. We've done this with you. Drilled it home. And when you open your bank accounts, you feel appreciative. You suddenly feel, wow, I'm building my net worth, and you feel appreciative, and money flows to where it's appreciated most.
So I want to just summarize kind of what you've said there, because I think it's important to understand. We talk about money a lot, and the reason we talk about money a lot is not because of the money. The money comes as a byproduct of you fulfilling your dreams. So people think that when we're talking about money, we're talking about, having lots of money in the bank account, rolling in cash and all that sort of stuff. That's not what we're talking about. That eventually will happen as a byproduct of you working on yourself. When we're talking about money, you can actually work on your money. You can actually create a system to work with your finances. And what you're doing when you're doing that is actually not working on your money. You're working on yourself. Because in order to follow this system, you have to be disciplined. You have to be organized. You have to be energized. You have to have all of these things. All of the things that we spoke about and all of the words that came up as you're doing your self-worth exercise are all the things you have to be. Now, one of the things that happens with people is that when we ask them to look deep into their self-worth, they start writing things out, but because they don't see in their physical reality a response as quickly as they would like to see, there's no like marker that says, oh, my self-worth has improved today, or I'm now growing in my self-worth. Because there's no physical marker to show you how far you've come, people fall off the bandwagon, people struggle to do it. When you work on your self-worth using your finances, your physical representation that your self-worth is growing is your financial net worth also grows.
This is very important. You have to listen to what you just said here. This is very, very important.
Because what happens then is that as your self-worth is growing, as you're disciplined, organized, intelligent, all the things, you start to see your net worth grow. Now, as you see your net worth grow, that impacts on your self-worth, and you start to realize, oh, I'm all these other things. And then you see your net worth grow. So when you're working on your money and your self-worth at the same time, you start to have a physical outward representation that you are on track. And one of the reasons that we fall off the bandwagon is because we stumble because we don't see, oh, how is this having an effect in my day-to-day life? Now, the people who stuck it out right to the end will notice the difference. But when you do that and you're working on your finances at the same time, you really start to build them both together, and it makes such an impact.
Yeah. And the objective, the objective at the end of the day is, this is a podcast or a live to empowered women, right? And you have to understand it's empowered, it's not outpowered, it's empowered. So you're empowering yourself on the inside. And when you do this, you start to realize when we fall in love, we don't fall in love, we fall in love. So when you fall in love with yourself and you become appreciative of yourself and you start to see what you bring to life, life gives you more life. So life is trying to give you more life all the time. It's trying to hand it to you all the time. But until you're empowered to handle it and you're in love to handle it, it can't give you any more. So this is why this exercise is such a unique exercise for those that make it through to the end. Even the guys that just kicked off and even got through one day. Man, if as long as you're starting to get that no one wakes up in the morning to design your life. You design your life. No one wakes up in the morning and says, hey, you know what I'm going to do for you today? I'm going to empower you. Nobody does that. You empower you. You are responsible. So stopping and becoming accountable to what you bring to life, counting your blessings, realize what you have inside of you, and be clear about it. And as you do this, you create clearer boundaries in your life. When you create clearer boundaries in your life, you have higher levels of self-esteem. The great Brene Brown said this: people who have the strongest boundaries have the greatest amounts of self-esteem. So I'm saying to you that the key to mastering your life is to esteem yourself enough that you don't care what anybody else thinks. You don't care what anybody else says. You know what it is you're here to do. You're not like the rest of the sheep where you have a vision. You're a visionary. You know clearly how you're going to get there, and nothing is going to get in the way. And every waking moment is on the pursuit of greatness of what it is you're here to do. When you have that amount of love for yourself and you have those boundaries, people just want to participate. They just want to get involved. They just want to hang out with you, buy your product, buy your service. They're in. There's no convincing needed.
So, I suppose just to summarize, right?
Yeah.
Momentum in pursuit of your dreams is only necessary when you haven't chunked down your dream, when you haven't written down what it is that you want and how it is that you're going to get there. It's like creating a recipe to bake a cake. Even me, who can't bake, I can follow a recipe. And so because I can follow a recipe, I'm not emotional about it. I know I can just chunk it down and actually take it step by step. So I don't have to lose momentum. Now, I would totally lose momentum if I had nowhere to start. So first thing about momentum is that you have to chunk it down. When you're a visionary and you've chunked it down, you don't need momentum. The next thing that we want to make sure that you're aware of as we finish up on this call is that when you set the dream to build your self-worth, it's important that you have an outside mechanism to remind you that you're on track. And one of the best ways to do that is with finances, because people always resonate with finances. And it's not because they want money. People don't want money. When we're talking about finances, they don't want money. They want to achieve their dreams. They want to leave a legacy. They want to feel inspired. They want to be an inspiration to other people. They want to have freedom. They want to have a lifestyle that inspires them so that they can give back to the world. That's why money is important. But if you are not building your self-worth at the same time, you'll never be able to achieve that. You will always be dragged down by the day-to-day. The other thing that we want to say is that you can't be delusional in terms of fulfilling your dreams. If you want to fulfill your dream, you have to have a commitment. You have to make that commitment to yourself. And remembering that the commitment that you make to yourself, the conscious commitment is a part of it, but your conscious commitment isn't the answer. It's what's running you is what's going on subconsciously. So you've got to work on what's happening at a subconscious level.
Yeah, I just want to finish up here with saying one last thing to you guys, and it's that, people who are masters of their destiny are not victims of their history. You cannot be a master of your destiny if you're going to continue to be a victim of your history.
Now, Mitch said this line the other day, and I loved it. I wrote it down and I trademarked it for myself, but he's used it again. So this is really, really important. And I think if I can just take a moment and share something with you guys. Some of you that were really, really challenged by some of the areas in the exercise. The reason that we, I know that when I got on Facebook, I really pushed a few of you to look deeper than what you had been looking. And as much as I'm totally 100% aware, because I've had my own experiences, I'm totally 100% aware of how challenging it can be and how traumatic it can be to really think about some of this stuff. I'm going to put to you that if you're going to be a victim of your history, you cannot be the master of your destiny. Because imagine that this is the key to your future. If you've got that in the past and you're saying, well, my past is holding me back, well, then the key to your future you have no access to. You have to be able to look back there and say, what is the gold that came from that? For us and from our perspective, we want to challenge you to step out of the mentality that anything that happened to you wasn't your greatest gift. Your greatest gift, here's the thing. Life happens. Things are going to happen. Sometimes we perceive them as positive things. Sometimes we perceive them as negative things. Now, in this moment, we cannot go back and change what happened to us. But what we can do is we have two choices. We can become a victim of that and we can allow that to determine how we live the rest of our lives, or we can use that as a stepping stone to creating and becoming the masters of our destiny. So this is why this line from Mitch is so important. When we become victims of our history, we cannot master our destiny. So I will challenge all of you who really struggled with any area of your life to really look deep into that, and to reach out if you need to do that, in order to figure out how you can overcome the concepts and the thoughts that are holding you back in those areas. Because I can promise you, I have not had a case where this is not the truth. I promise you, your absolute gold lies right in that space.
I'll say something there. You know, my certainty about that is greater than any human being's doubt. I've watched it over and over and over and over again. You've witnessed this yourself, Ciara, over and over and over again. And, you know, perhaps, you know, life heard you. This is why you're on the other end of this feed, because life heard you, and it has you here in front of, you know, the right information to be able to actually get you to actually flip the switch on that and turn this into your greatest gift, and teach not just yourself but other people around you. Perhaps your vision and your mission lies in your ability to be able to deal with what happened and handle what has gone on, and actually be able to make a difference here in the world, because you're allowed to. I can tell you that you are an extraordinary human being. No matter what happened, you are alive, you're awake, you're aware, you're a soul alive in this human form. Everything that happened was designed to enable you. And my clarity about that is greater than anybody's doubt or lack of vision. I'm telling you that that's how it is.
For those of you who are listening to this, who are challenged by what we're saying to you, I'm going to say one last thing about this. Me personally, Mitch personally, it doesn't matter what's happened for you in your life. We personally refuse to see you as victims. You are not a victim.
No way.
You are an empowered person, an empowered woman, an empowered man. I know we've got some men listening. You are empowered. And if you can harness the power that's in those moments, you will be unstoppable.
Watch this. Do you know why people get emotional around their stuff and what happened? This is really cool. The reason people get emotional is because they're emotional. They get emotional because they're emotional. So what that means is that there's a part of them that knows better than to be emotional around what happened. There's a part of them, there's an innate inbuilt part of them that goes, no, there's something for me to see here. And the reason they're emotional is because they hadn't seen it. What we do is we help people to get it. We help people to see it. And it starts with Mastermind of Money. And I'm so, when you come to Mastermind of Money, those of you that have got your
We've got quite a few of you online.
When you come to Mastermind of Money, please come up and say hello to us. Please come up and give us a hug. Give me a high five. Give Amelia a hug and a high five. Make yourself visible to us, and understand when you get in there, you're going to walk out the end of that 2 days and you're going to cry with me like a couple of kids, and we'll laugh, and you'll be like, that's the greatest thing I've ever done in my life. That's what you're about to do here. We're going to blow your mind. I'm so looking forward to seeing you guys. I really, really am. And I'm so proud that so many of you have taken the initiative to put yourselves first and get your asses in there. Cool.
I think that was one of, I just absolutely love that quote. People who are masters of their destiny are not victims of their history. And that is really what this Empowered Women's weekly call is about, is helping women step back into their personal power, because so often we feel victimized and we take on that role of victim mentality, instead of realizing that all we do is give our power away and give more power to the people or the things that we feel have victimized us, which is the opposite of what we want to do. And, for me, stepping back into my personal power, and, there was many areas of my life that I was being a victim in. I was not taking control of my finances. I was waiting for somebody else to do that for me, rather than empowering myself as a strong and capable woman to create that for my own future, and making sure that I have that safety and security and freedom for myself, so that I don't need rescuing, and yeah.
Can I just say, Ciara, one of the biggest things with women that keep them disempowered is because they perceive that they haven't got the power over their own finances. Yeah. So they keep themselves in disempowering situations, either at work, with relationships, in social situations, because they feel that they don't have power over their finances. And to me personally, as a woman, it is, because it's so simple to master, it's one of the best things for me as an independent woman is that I have mastery of my own finances. If you can master your own finances, then you can see how important and how easy it is, and how because this thing here, guys, is Mother Nature. It's not Father Nature. It's women. It's women who rule the world, and it's us that have the power to be able to do this. We're able to handle our money way, 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 way better than men are able to handle their money. And yet we hand the power of it over to them, and we say, no, you handle this. If we can empower women, at least just in the very, very first instance, to master their finances, they will not be victims of anything else in their lives. Guaranteed, because they can stand up and be proud and be able to handle their own life and be able to stand in their own power financially, and it will make the world of difference.
When you handle the control of your wealth over to another human being, you hand over your self-esteem. You hand over your self-esteem to someone else. And then as it goes wrong, you blame them. And the reason you didn't want to take it in the first place, because you were afraid you were going to make mistakes. But all the mistakes you were afraid were going to be made get made by someone else, because it's easier for you to blame them than it is for you to take responsibility. So you cannot have the pleasure of handing over the mastery of your money to someone else without having the pain of it. So you're best to just pick it up and grab it by the reins and build your self-worth, and don't let and don't let anybody hold your self-worth. It's ridiculous. Don't do it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was only going to just say the self-worth that I feel as a woman today, the power that I feel that I have, because I can make whatever choices I need to make financially. And it's hard to describe what that feels like. So what the journey really with you guys does start with Mastermind and Money, and it's just so incredibly impactful. We had a bunch of people in the comments say how amazing it is and how they're so excited for people who haven't been yet. I know that you guys gave a really great offer to our team a couple of months ago, and I've created this group since then, and we have all these new people that want more information and would love to attend. Do you guys have a special offer for everyone who's tuning in for today, and maybe explain a bit more about where it is, when it's on, how they can join in?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have 4 Mastermind and Monies happening around Australia before the end of the year. So not next weekend, the weekend after, so the 7th-ish of June, I think it is we're on the Gold Coast. So we haven't been on the Gold Coast for a year. So we're there. 2 weeks following that, we're in Adelaide. And then come September, we're in Melbourne and Perth. And what happens with Mastermind and Money is that our tickets to the event are $97 per ticket. And if you want to buy 2 tickets, it's $137. What we're going to do for you, Kira, and for your people, because I know some people are already coming, they've already got a previous deal that we had. What we're going to do for the people that are online now that would love to join us is that we're going to also offer them, when they come to the event, if they purchase a ticket, so we're going to put a link in here somewhere, and that will be coming up shortly in the group. We're going to offer them a ticket to the event at the same price, but you're also going to get an additional, when you come to the event, you're going to get an additional little gift from us. And the gift is a diary, an accountability planner. Now, the accountability planner is so awesome. Are you getting yours now, Kira? There it is. It's so cool. Now, the reason it's really cool is because we don't want to just give you the event. We want to make sure that you're held accountable every step of the way, that we hold your hand, that you do exercises along the way that are really going to help impact and help consolidate everything that you learnt there. It also gives a whole heap of extra gold that's in that little planner there. So that there is going to be given for free to anybody who comes along and who books in with the link.
The accountability planner, I mean, we create great products and stuff, but the accountability planner has been such a game changer for so many people because of its content, what it does. It shares all the books that we've read. It introduces all of our students to our masters, the people that taught us. And it every day holds people accountable to making sure that they're not getting into mediocrity, that they're building themselves all of the time. And it's been absolutely magic. It's been absolutely fantastic.
It's all a bunch of your resources, but it's also a diary. So for those who have a diary, and you can start it at any time of the year. There's no actual,
There's no date.
It's not date specific. Yeah, it's magic. It's really been great, especially for women in business and men men in business as well. It's been great in keeping them accountable to making sure, because, you know, repetition lulls the brain to sleep. When we keep doing the same PD work every day, we get bored of it and we eventually blame the PD work because it didn't work. So what this does is it chops and changes and moves you around to making sure that you're always pushing yourself on a daily basis.
And I will just say as well that honestly, the price of Mastermind and Money is dirt cheap just for the seminar itself, for the fact of what you get in those 2 days. The 2 days that you work with us is absolute gold, because you what happens is that you really start, it's like Mitch said a little bit earlier, we actually touch on money only in the last part of the last day. The rest of it is exercises, activities, figuring out where your mindset is in terms of wealth, and really diving deep into all of that. And that's where all the gold is in this event. So it's really, 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 it's a really impactful 2 days. Yeah. Really impactful.
If you want to never have to worry about money again, this is where it starts.
And I would say, can I just say, you are the average of your surrounds. And I'm so grateful that my closest friends actually coach with you guys as well. So we kind of get to keep each other accountable, and, you know, we're all implementing the same routines and different things. So you have someone to talk with about it. So, you know, get your closest friends and your family along with you. And it will make such an incredible ripple effect in your community.
Because people bring their kids and everything. Like, I love kids. I have 3 very young children. People bring their kids and everything. So I love when I walk into the audience and there's like 7 prams down the back of the audience.
And teenage kids there as well.
I need to bring Madeline. I'm trying my best to, we've got the jars and all of that. But she's just like, I just want to spend it, Mum. She's just got no issues with it just flowing in life.
I know, we have to break that habit. Let's go.
Amazing.
It's been magic.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate it.
It's been magic. Thank you again.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've shared those links over in the live, so you guys can click on that link and book there. And yeah, thank you so much again for your incredible time. If you missed the 30-day challenge, then you can go back into the group and you can start. And if you stopped it and didn't continue, you can pick that right back up and, you know, start it and finish it at any time. So
can you take a quick photo, Kira?
Yes.
Get my finger down and say hi.
Our very professional setup here.
Yeah. I just want to say something, guys. Like, subscribe. If this has moved you in some way, for God's sake, share it with someone who didn't expect it. When you give to someone as if it's come from heaven, it comes back to you as if it's come from heaven. If you know somebody that could do it just hearing this message, you know, some eagle that's sitting on the side of a nest that just needs a nudge, please share the information. Let's help make a difference in this world, because it lies in our hands.
Can I just to finish off, the dates for Gold Coast are the 8th and 9th of June, and the dates for Adelaide are the 22nd and 23rd of June.
And it's all on there when you register
the link. All right.
Okay, amazing. Thank you, everyone. Have the best day ever.
Thanks. Bye.
Thank you.